Now we will be doing rest of the sections likewise, but before that, for the menu on the left, we need to place some text below the icons, so we will be next doing that. So for these we will have to add some text in the HTML. So within the blocks section here, I will use a class of text and define the name for that icon, and likewise I will paste it in all the rest of the blocks and change the name to the respective section name. For example, for the second I will use team services, and for the last one contact. Now if you check in the browser, you will see it placed below the icons on the left. I will just show you in the browser. Here you can see that it's placed just below the icons. We haven't styled it yet, so let's go ahead and style it. We have used a class of text, so I will just define the font family. I will give a normal font Arial and use a font weight of 200 and a font size of maybe 15 pixels, and let's use a line height of 24 pixels so that it gives some padding on the top and the bottom. And I will use a white color, something which is closer to white, that is F7, 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 and give a text transform of uppercase so that the text changes to an uppercase. So now if you check in the browser, you will see that it's all aligned properly. I had also used the text align center feature to center this horizontally, so that's why it's coming all fine. Now if you look at the overall design which I showed you in the beginning, the text only appears when we hover on it, so we'll have to hide it by default. So we will have to define an ID. So for that I will define an ID of what this section is about. So I will give a ID name of about. ID is required because we need to manipulate this later on using jQuery. That will be covered in our next tutorial. So I will just name the IDs for all these 4 menu text, and let's hide all these 4 menu text items. We just need to use display none. You can just copy and paste or use comma separated values for these IDs to hide this. So I will just change the names. So now if you check in the browser, it will be hidden by default. Now on hover we need to display this, but that will be covered in our next video in this series itself. So now let's move ahead and define the title of various sections. So for example, here on the left, if you can see the design, each of these sections have a title called about, our team, etc. So we will just place this title in this video itself and continue with the rest of the part in our next video. So for this you just need to use a class name and place the text in between. I will just use a class name of title section so that we can style all these 4 text simultaneously. So I will just paste this and change the text here on the right. So I will just change the values here. For the text I will just change it to team services and contact. Now let's go ahead and style it. So let's style a team section, and I will just copy the font here which we have used. I will just paste it here and change the we will use the same font size because it looks perfect. I will use a padding of 30 pixels so that it gives some space on the top as well as bottom, and I will text align it to the center. So now let's check it out, and it's perfect. And for this section, the services section, actually the text is showing as white, whereas in the design it's some different color. So it's a dark color, of course. So we'll have to change this for only the services section. Now to select this particular section in CSS, what you can do is you can define it by its parent class, which is also called as a deep selector. So here its title section is within the blue class, so I will just use dot blue, give a space, and then use title section. So this will apply only to the blue section inside title section inside the blue section. So here when I defined color as darkish gray, here you can see that it's applied to the services section. So we will be continuing this series in our next video. So stay tuned, and I will just show you the template we are going to, the final template we are going to design. This is the final template, and you can see the about us section, the our team section, which has a cool hover effect, and the services section as well as the contact section, which has a Google map embedded. And plus it's a responsive design, and on the left side on the top the menu is attractive one. The important thing about this template is that it's responsive and it doesn't use any media query.